Hey guys, welcome back. My name's Stu, and this is part 11, the final part of my Pluto Gardens playthrough. And we're done. We've built all 10 coasters to the required excitement and length stats that we needed. This is scenario 49 of the VJ scenario pack, and we're finally done. We have done it, but I'm not quite happy. I want to do some finishing touches to the scenery. Nothing too drastic, just some little fences and things like that. But don't worry, I'm not going to time lapse it. I'm just going to, by the power of magic, click my fingers and it'll be done. There we go then. So all I've done is I've gone around using the jelly bean wall with a red and green effect, like a Christmas theme. Done a little bit of scenery here and there, some little bridges and things going across. And I keep forgetting to mention, do you know that the doors work on the junior coaster train, on the little scenery things? So we've done a few crossover pieces and catch netting, that sort of thing. On the Rudolph stations, I've done a 1 to 4 candy sticks either side of the station, depending on whether it's the 1 to 4 station along the line. Yeah, so we're done. And you know what? This scenario wasn't too bad in the end. I'm really glad that we changed the scenery. We got rid of the scenery and started more or less afresh. I'm happy that I kept these bits here because I was watching something over Christmas and I realized that sort of thing is a natural effect, that sort of circular effect on when this whole area, I suppose if it was real, would have been flooded at some point, and whatever liquid this green stuff is, would have sort of like a whirlpool tunneled down, eroded that way. But yeah, I'm really not really happy with the way things turned out, but considering the amount of time that we put in, and some of the restraints or constraints that we have, like the limb coaster. If you saw the time lapse of the limb coaster, you would have seen how frustrated I got with having to keep making it boring. Basically, we did the initial design, and I thought it looked really good, and then we just had to keep making it boring, reducing the amount of drops and reducing this and that, and I wanted to keep the loops. But anyway, let's have a quick sort of recap on the coasters that we built. So coaster number 1 then, Blitzen. So in order to thank Father Christmas for saving this scenery, the scenario, by getting rid of the garish scenery, I decided to thank him by building the coasters and naming them after the reindeer. And due to science, all of Santa's reindeer are female. Because male reindeer, and reindeer are basically just domesticated caribou, they lose their antlers at Christmas time, whereas the female reindeer do not. So there you go. So it comes out, launches, great stats on this one, and basically goes around, up and down and around and about the outside of the park. There's a second launch section just on the outside here. Similar thing on the other side, around and then back to the start where we've got an exit station just there. So it just helps speed up the throughput of the guests on the line. We've got a little welcome sign then on the block break just between the stations. We've got a huge food court sort of area in the middle. And then just over here, then we built the second coaster, which we've got on stop at the moment and put into retest. That way the game only thinks we've got 9 completed coasters. So this is a quad track Mobius design. Would have preferred for it to be a Virginia reel, but oh well, none of them in the game, so we had to go with the spinning wild mouse. Little crossover piece just there as well, and some sort of catch netting over the paths. And then the third coaster then was a junior coaster, Rudolph. So with this one, what I did was I built a very simple, small oval track. Then I built the station. Then I saved it. Then I plonked that down in 4 different locations around the map. Then I deleted the ride, and then I built the main ride then, connecting up all 4. That way I didn't have to keep repeating the station design. Yeah, and anyway, it looks all right, I suppose. Let's have a look. Decent stats on that as well. So that's pretty cool. I suppose we could have. I wasn't aiming to get the coasters over 10. Some of them are, some of them aren't. I did, when I did the Nevermore Park playthrough, I did get them all over 10. And one of the ways I did that with the junior coaster was by using a lot of airtime. So we could have just done a lot more airtime on this, or we could have had some synchronized stations or something like that. But, you know, I wasn't too fussed on that. So what was number 4? Number 4, I believe. Nope, that's number 5. Does it really matter which one is number 4? We found it. So yeah, I guess it kind of does. So this is Dasher. This is the Limb coaster. In hindsight, I probably should have gone for a Twister coaster because they're a lot more forgiving on the number of drops and inversions and things that you have. So there was a lot more ups and downs and helixes and things like that. So it comes out down here. I wanted to do the loops for Rudolph to go through because the whole design for Rudolph was to sort of interact with the other coasters, and mention that as well. So you'll probably see, I think on the outro, I think the best one to do will be Rudolph, and here is there's a little stop break section here, then another sort of accelerate a bit. So the idea behind this is that every once in a while you would get an interaction with some of the coasters. It's not guaranteed, but if you just imagine like go into a park with your friends and you go on the coaster at different times, and you might all get different experiences. So that's kind of one of the things I wanted to do with that. So there's the turnaround here. Again, not as good as it was. And then there's a long high five element there. So called because the trains would be angled towards each other, so the guests would be so close they could high five each other on the other train. And then number 5 was the mine train, just down here. Down that. Good excitement on that. Not far away from the 10. A little bit more scenery or another interaction, we'd get that, no problem. So with this one, I've mixed up sort of bank turns and flat turns, and sort of more sort of classic railroad elements, and a couple of lift hills as well, which you often see multiple lift hills on mine train coasters. Not that I'm too fussed on realism. I often find realism is overrated. That's not number 6. What was number 6? Number 7. Number 6 is Comet. So we had the swinging inverter ships, and we didn't have a swinging inverter plane coasters, plane trains, and we didn't have any inverted coasters. So I know some people will argue about the difference between an inverted coaster and a suspended coaster, and honestly, I don't care. But they hang below the track, so as far as I'm concerned, it's the same thing. But whatever. So I thought, let's try and do like an airport sort of theme, and it looks all right. It's like a hangar. It's probably an easy building to make. So yeah, it'd be kind of cool if they sort of. I suppose we could do some tips and tricks. I did mention this before. Did I? Or did I cut that bit out? I'm not sure. I was feeling a little ill over Christmas, and there was one video where they did an intro to it, and I ended up waffling too much, so I cut it out. So it's probably that one. I could use OpenRCT2 to remove the track or make the track invisible and speed this up a bit so it does actually look like planes. But I can only do that after completing it, otherwise the game wouldn't recognize it as a coaster. So yeah, it looks quite good. It goes round. The idea is it sort of cruises up above the clouds and then sort of dive bombs and goes around and etc. etc. So that was that one. Number 7 is probably the water coaster. That's number 8. Number 7, of course, was Cupid just here, the wooden coaster, which isn't letting me click on. Again, good stats on that. Again, I had to redo this because the initial design wasn't long enough, so I had to add these sections here. Now, I normally do whinge about helix spam on rides, and as you'll notice, some of these rides have got quite a lot of helixes. One of the things about helixes is that they don't count as drops, so they're a good way of changing elevation without actually coming as a drop. I thought I changed that. I thought I changed that section. Obviously, I didn't. Oh well. Yeah, because it looks very janky. That sort of that bit there. Oh well. Yeah. So after that, then we've got the water coaster Prancer. Again, good stats on that. In the outro for that video, they were badly synced up, and that was because of the chain left. Oh, there you go. Again, so we could drop that down. Again, I thought I'd change that. Obviously, I had tested it and then never saved it. So yeah, what happens is this bit here where you've got the little chain lift section. So this boat's only going 4 miles per hour. The one on the chain lift was then going up to 6. Now it's only going 4 again. So there's a little bit better synchronization on that now. Cool. Number 8. What do we have for number 8? What was that, number 8? That was number 8. So number 9 then is the Twister Coaster just here. Vixen, obviously orange. So it launches out. We've got a pair of inverted top hats just there. So I've got the speed set so it perfectly hangs at the slightly faster than just stalling at the top, and then drops down. Again, we got some barrel rolls over the start there. Again, I did have to make it slightly boring towards the end because the intensity was a little over. I think the excitement was still fine even after the penalty, but I just wanted to drop the intensity down a bit, and then it comes back to the end there. Quite like the station building for that. It's one thing I've tried to do. Again, I thought oh, there you go. I didn't have it on this side there. So just to show you, it's not a trick or anything. You can put the doors on the junior coaster tracks and they will work. Pretty cool. So that was number 9. And then number 10 is the spiral coaster. So obviously there's 8 of the traditional reindeer, then there's Rudolph, and then so this one then is just called Polar after the North Pole, which everyone knows that the North Pole is a big red and white pole. And then so we've got a double spiral lift hill over on that, which is it's quite tricky to build. So if you'd like a tutorial on that, let me know and I'll do one. It is quite tricky to build, but I think I've got a fairly easy way of doing it. Now in the outro for this one, it was quite annoying because the first lap, or sort of first half of it, because obviously it's Mobius, so you see 2 halves, they were badly synced, but then the second one was really well synced, and that's just the luck of the draw, I suppose. That's the thing with this. You can spend ages getting them to sync up really well, and then what happens is the game assigns each guest with a random weight, and so you get one train full of fatties and one train full of skinnies, and it's going to blow the whole thing out of the water. But one thing is, I don't tend to spend too much time trying to synchronize these. Once you've built so many of them, it kind of becomes more sort of luck than judgment most of the time, which is, there you go. See, this one's not synced. It kind of becomes more sort of luck than judgment. but the sort of the line between those two seems to or the gap between those two seems to get smaller and smaller the more you do it. Yeah, so this was Pluto Gardens. I know we haven't passed it yet. Right, so this will be a good idea or good opportunity to show you how to do one of these Mobius coasters. They are an absolute pain. As you can see, so we've got, at some point it's gone out of sync, so we've got 3 in the first 2 stations, and then 2 on the other, or 1 on the other 2. So what we'll do then is we'll put this into construction mode. We'll go back out, hide scenery, hide rides. No, because we need to open it, don't we? Right, so make sure synchronize is on. Now we'll hide rides again, hide scenery. Okay, so we've got 8 on one track. So what we need to do now, and we need to be quite careful with this, otherwise it's a pain because we have to start from scratch. So this is scratch now, all 8 on one track. So we'll lift, synchronize off. First one goes, second one goes. We'll put it back on, run it on fast. Oh, we've done 3. That's so annoying, so annoying. Right, we start again. Start again from scratch. One thing we can do is we can put it to a normal or plain entrance. That way I'm going to keep turning rides off and on. Okay, we'll start again. Synchronize, so we'll do 1. Let's fast forward. Oh, right. So it goes round. Then it'll come back to another station. Done. Let's press normal play. Right. So I'll do that now. See, sometimes it does it automatically for you, and on some coasters and some it doesn't. It's quite bizarre. Right, so that's done now. So we're on fast forward. Okay, let's put on play, synchronize, put it back on, so it only releases 1. When we're happy, we'll do that, and then we'll put it back on. So it's only released another 1. Cool. So now we've got 6 going round, and they will find their way. So now when it comes back, because it'll have them in the other 3 stations, it will launch automatically. I say launch. It's not really launching, is it? There you go. Cool. So we can put the scenery on. We can open it up. So now as soon as the test results come back, it's going to recognize that there's now 10 coasters that have passed the minimum requirements, and it's going to allow us to pass the game. Let's go back to the start so we can see that. One thing I didn't do was I didn't put enough variation on the colors of balloons and things around the place and umbrellas. And there you go. It's done it. Only 261,000. Wow. Okay, well, we've done it. Stew. Cool. Awesome. So what I'll do is before I do the outro, I made a couple of little graphics just to show the length of these coasters and then how they would compare in real life. So I'll show those now and then we'll get on with the outro. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.